Welcome once again to the Female Geographers Corner, an informative space created to make visible the contribution of women geographers to society. This afternoon we have a very special guest who will be introduced by my colleague Ana Espinosa, whom I thank for contacting here.
Thank you, Aston, and also welcome, Nathalie, to this interview. So today we have the interview with the boss of geography of all over the world. So she is the president of the International Geographical Union, and she's from France. And she was so nice to say yes to us for being interviewed in the Women's Geographers Corner. And she said, of course, without any hesitation. And we are extremely happy, and that was also one of our dreams, to be capable to contact you. So I'm going to introduce first Nathalie Lemarchand, and then we will start with the questions. So Nathalie began her academic career at the University of Valenciennes, where she founded a Canadian Studies Center. While pursuing her research and giving a variety of classes at the BA and MA, she was elected in 2003 to the Geography section of the French National Conseil des Universités. From 2012 to 2016, she became a member of the Spaces, Territories and Societies section of the CNRS, the French National Center of Scientific Research. All those years, she has remained active in the Comité National Français de Géographie, of which she was elected vice president in 2008 and president of the Commerce Commun. I don't know how to say that in French or in English. So the Retail Commission from 2009 to 2013. As a specialist in the geography of retail and consumption, her work is based on the cultural and social dimension of trade. She focuses in particular on the new territories of production and distribution. As a consultant, she is a regular contributor to public affairs programs and speaks to public and private decision makers. Her latest publication addressed issues of consumption patterns, proximity, local and global, and the commercial landscape. She demonstrates that parts of retailing has moved from a retail position associated with the production society to an entertainment position associated with the consumer society. This shift is occurring at the same time as the emergence of new forms of commercial space, whether in protest against globalization or in support of it. In 2025, she was honored Strong-Minded Woman by the French College of Learned Science Society in recognition of her leadership in science and academia. Congratulations. Along with her scientific production, the award recognizes her positive actions throughout her career for more inclusive academic and scientific institutions. In 2024, after 8 years as vice president, she became in Dublin, Ireland, the president of the International Geographical Union. She was elected a member of the Nominations and Elections Committee of the International Science Council, full professor at the University of Paris, since 2009. She's in charge of the Academic Freedom Commission, leading a group of colleagues in action and reflection on that matter. So, bienvenue au point de thème Géographe.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Gracias.
Good afternoon, Nathalie. Nice to meet you. We're going to the Female Geographers Corner. It's an honor to be able to count on you and to do this interview with you. With this, we have fulfilled one of our dreams. Thank you very much for having accepted our invitation. We begin the interview with the two questions we always ask our guests. So the first question is, when did you know you wanted to become a geographer?
Thank you. Thank you for your question. And first of all, thank you for inviting me to participate at this webinar, seminar. It's a great opportunity to me for discussion with you, for share my thought about this different subject. And thank you for also your this activity, for organizing this webinar. It's very important. Very
Thanks.
To respond at this first question, I tell that it's during my master degree. I took part at this moment in a local urban planning study, and my contribution focused on the impact of a new hypermarket on local retailing. What fascinated me were the links between the different parts and functions of the city. I started to comprehend what geography was as a science, what is a way of seeing and understanding also the complexity of spatial systems. And this is, in my opinion, the key of geography, to understand the complexity of spatial systems. And by this way, to have an overview of how the society works.
Okay, thanks. The second question is, once you finished your studies in geography, were you clear about what you wanted to specialize in?
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Because after my participation in the aforementioned research, it was clear to me that I would specialize in the geography of retailing, more globally called geography of commerce. My PhD focused on the links between a city's commercial structure and the social composition on its neighborhoods. This has always been my favorite research interest, but throughout the years, I have changed my approach. I first look at this issue through an urban planning perspective. Then I have moved to a more social and cultural one. In a way, I integrated concepts and perspectives borrowed from social and cultural geography.
Thank you. Aston, can you come to your micro whereas you are not talking? I think there is a noise.
Sorry, I can't hear you well.
It sometimes comes a noise. Let's see. Okay, so I'm very happy that you were also talking about retail geography and also this shift from more urban planning to more social and cultural studies or interpretation of retail studies. So since you have been working a lot and many years on retail and consumption geographies, can you explain us the new trends and new topics analyzed in these strands of geography?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Generally speaking, the move from the geography of commerce to the geography of consumption came from the realization that people, for a great deal, do not buy things for strict necessity, but also for cultural and social reasons. This perspective led to new topics, such as I have third topics, new trends. And the first one is the e-commerce revolution, as you know, as I'm sure everyone know now. This is a real breakthrough which has overturned not only consumer habits, but also the very organization of commerce everywhere. With major technological advances, consumers can now access virtual shopping areas at any time, wherever they are. The constraints of time and distance have literally disappeared. But this transformation does not stop there. It is also social, because some of the leading consumers, it's something that I like to underline. Some of these leading consumers of e-commerce are also players in the new digital economy. It's also territorial because it is part of an accelerated metropolitan dynamism. And above all, it's urban logistic, home delivery, the reconfiguration of urban travel, of this require throughout rethink of urban planning. This is the first one. The second, I would say, the rise of second-hand shops. The second transformation is the rise of the second-hand market. Of course, I'm sure that in Spain, this is the same that now in France and in many, not only European countries, but also we can see that in Americas, in Asia, in many countries. Today, of course, this has always existed, going all the way back to the Middle Age. We can go at this moment, at this period, but back then, it was often associated with the form of economic and social decline. Along the years, it was more and more associated with this social decline, economic problems, etc. Today, this market is benefiting from symbolic and social repositioning. Why is this? Because it responds to ecological concerns, scarcity of resources, and criticism of consumer society. And it's tricky in territorial terms. It's also very geographical. This is a geographical change, also move, where one second-hand and second-hand shops were relegated to the fringe of town, in a popular district and in peripheral quarter. And cities. Today, they can be found in town centers and in pedestrian areas. Now we can see all these shops everywhere in all town center, and it's hardly an urban sound today without a second-hand shop. We can see that in the chic district too. This is the second point. But there is an interesting paradox there, because this market originally developed on the basis of non-commercial exchanges at this new area, this modern time. It was at the beginning like consumer to consumer between citizens in the platforms. And today it is commercial platforms that dominate. As Vinted, as many platforms like this. Sometimes also encouraging a new form of hyperconsumption. In fact, researchers show this very well. Consuming second-hand does not always mean consuming less. And this is a paradox too. The two paradoxes in this new rise of commercial way. The last one is certainly the fact that the place and space of commerce themselves have become object of consumption. This is something I have been working on for some years through the rise of shopping centers. In this perspective, I would say as a third topic that I would call the idealized revival of neighborhood retailing, or if you prefer, the rediscovery of neighborhood retailing. Oh, now let's be honest. In reality, there is not a massive comeback everywhere. I know that in Spain, it's not exactly the same, that you have still some small shops in the cities, in the district. But in many European countries, and even in Spain, I know that there are some changes for that. The mass retailing took the first place for the market. This is the same in Spain, in sort of. But no, there is not a massive comeback everywhere, but in the representation, in the collective imagination, the neighborhood shop, like Amélie Poulain's Still Grocery Shop. I don't know if you know this movie, Amélie Poulain. No, this is a French movie with a very local.
Amélie, yeah.
Yes, and This way it's become a desirable model. It's linked to an important geographical value, place, the place that creates a bond. We are looking for emotional as well as physical proximity. And we can see this in the marketing strategies, faces of producers, shop distribution channels, and local or regional production. All this reinforces the attachment of to a region and gives new meaning to the act of being. This is a free tense that I see recently for the retail and consumption.
Okay. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Then it's a physical geographer, but I think both of us were happy, but I was extremely delightful to to see that you were talking about these topics.
Thank you.
Okay, the next question is, we would like to center this interview on your current position as the president of the International Geographical Union. Just the Irish female geographer Anne Batimer had the honor of being president of this society. What it means for you to be the new president of the largest geographical society in the world?
It means a lot to me. Early on, and especially when I was doing my PhD, I discovered that many of you, I'm sure, that the academic world was male-dominated. It was not just a question of numbers that said there are more men than women, but the fact that I could feel and see that university was set for male achievements. Women were kind of foreigners on a new planet, in sort of. But they were wonderful and strong-headed women who worked hard to make their place and showed young women like me that it was possible. It guided me throughout the years, and I hope that being president of IGU will encourage women geographers to put their candidature forward for position of responsibility at all scales. More broadly, being president of the IGU means working as part of a team for the promotion of geography in science and in education. Intense work is done within IGU's executive committee with the Secretary General, Barbara Rosgonengiel, and 11 members from different origins, including, as I told, one from Spain, the first Vice President, Ruben Camilo Luis Gonzalez, but also, and with
Great. So we continue a bit more. And what are the main challenges of geography as an academic science? Are we transmitting the value of our work to society, or are we doing it in a proper way? Do you think that society perceives geography as a key science for understanding the social and environmental transformations needed in the current global change context?
Within
there are many questions.
Sorry. It's okay?
Yeah. I said that there are many questions, but you can just have a single answer.
Thank you. Within IGU and other large regional scientific organizations, geographers gather in Congress on the basis of their scientific interest or specialties, which is good and even normal. Scientific achievements come from presenting, debating, and confronting the findings of our research. But there are also what we can call centripetal forces. I mean that for most of the thematics, we are all pulled to collaboration with other sciences, say sociology, economy, political sciences, but also geologists, archaeologists, etc., which is also good in global science. But it seems also to me that the latter makes it difficult to meet on geographic terms. For example, geographers keep presenting geography as a science where, as you said, the social and environmental myths, where they are at the center of the geographic mind. This is a traditional speech. But in reality, we do not easily meet on that ground. This also has an effect on how other scientists see geography. It's like we are one science, we are together, and everywhere when I represent IGU, yes, I hear that, yes, natural and cultural part, but for the geographers together, sometimes it's difficult. This also has an effect on how other scientists see geography, as I told. This is also when one of the goals of IGU is to participate in global science organizations, such as ISC, International Science Council, and CIPS, Conseil international de la science et de la philosophie, des sciences humaines et de la philosophie, and other. Also, another standing committee on gender equality in science. Also, we need to reach out to geographers who work on a wide range of scales with public and private actors, as well as associations and local communities. I believe that this very active participation is not well known, and it is one also of the priorities we have set for this mandate.
Okay, thanks, Nathalie. The next question is about, we have seen in many statistics that the proportion of female geographers is always lower than the male ones in any geographical subdiscipline. How do you think this impacts in the topics we focus on in geography and the gender citation gap?
I think it's there is a large impact in the topics we focus on in geography. But now, yes, less and less, for example, the geography and gender are recognized. For example, in 2023, the IGU Gender and Geography had awarded, but I think that it's difficult. It's still difficult in some countries or in some situations that some topics are really recognized. But we work on that in IGU about that. But yes, I'm sorry, I'm not enough. It was. I missed something about this question. I don't find. I don't find still. Okay, this is the main thing that I think that we have to work again. And for example, I'm sure that you know that we launch inside the executive committee. We launch an issue on Wikipedia, and to have a better knowledge by some new files on female geographers, and by this way also to have a better knowledge of the subject, of the topics that we can discuss. It's not only about the topics, it's also the way to do geography, and this is also that it's important to push and to improve, to have a better recognized in IGU and more generally in geography.
Absolutely. I think the way we perceive the world is different. So the way we also do our research is different. And also the topics and the way we are perceiving these invisible tasks, they also, I think everything is connected. And of course, I completely agree with what you said. We need to also to recognize different ways of making research according to the way we are, living in the world, of course. So we are going to continue with the last question about the main core of the interview. And this is about the topic, the language topic, right? So first of all, none of us are native speakers in English, but we are using English as a lingua franca. So I think this question also arose in a different interview we had we got last year, and we also wanted to talk to you about that. So in 2014, you published The Languages of Scientific Dissemination, a question for geographers and geographies. And that was a reflection of the hegemony of the English as the lingua franca in science. This is a topic we talk about, as I said, with other interviewee, with a Romanian geographer from the Babeș-Bolyai University. So would you mind sharing with our audience the main ideas that you wrote on that article, please?
Yeah, thank you for the question. This article was written after a forum that we organized in France in, I think, 10 years ago. And the subject raised because also we, as I know that this is the same in Spain and in many countries, our authorities push that to be international, and to be international for these authorities means to publish in English, firstly. And by this way, we began also to think, okay, but when we teach, for example, with master degrees, or even with undergraduate students, but with master degrees and also with the PhD students, if we if we published only in English, we will give to our students what will be the next step for the student for teaching, and this is one issue that we think when we decided to do this forum. The second point was okay, but by this only way to publish in English, how to encourage also bilateral or also some foreigners, PhD students, to study another countries or region other that Anglo, English-speaking countries. It's also because so when we organize this forum, some colleagues who did a PhD on Egypt told us, I lost 7 years to learn Arabic language because it's not recognized for my career, and by this way I lost some years, and we think, but okay, if the new generation began to think that they give up to study Spain, Italy, Egypt, other countries or region, we will lost a knowledge on these countries. This is also a point of that we did that, and this article want to point. And another point also is if we have only a way to publish, a way to standardize the publication, this is also a way to think the geography. And we lost, by this way, we lost the diversity of geography. The diversity of geography comes from the diversity of languages, the diversity of the situation in the countries, in the region. And to understand this situation is also a way to enrich the knowledge of geography. And this is why also we publish this article. And to add, this is also why we began to add, to organize bilateral conferences between Spain and France. I don't know if you know that, but yes, we began, I think that we began eight years ago now. The first one was in, it's not Seville, Seville was the third. The first one was in a very beautiful city in Spain. Second was in Paris, third in Seville, and etc. And Toulouse. And this is also a way to keep bilateral meetings, and also to encourage young student, PhD student, to continue to study in another countries, but their countries and only English-speaking countries.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
This is so difficult, yeah, because it's swimming against the current. Yeah? So it's just going against the mainstream public scientific publication, which is always in English. But at the same time, it's also important because languages are also part of culture and also part of the richness of a country, of course.
Yes, and the next one will be in the next bilateral meeting between the French National Committee of Geography and Association of Spain Geographers will be in Saragossa next year. You are welcome.
Okay.
So, now that we know.
Okay, finally, we would like to ask you a series of short, more personal questions to finish the interview, for the public to get to know you a little better. The first short question is, can you give us the name of a historical figure who made you an impression?
I would like to see two female scientists. First one in geography is Jacqueline Beaujeu-Garnier. Jacqueline Beaujeu-Garnier was a very famous geographer. I don't know if you know the name. I think that in retelling, yes, I'm not sure, but for retelling, this is a famous name. Yes. And she was. I'm happy to meet her some years before she died, and she was very famous. She was the first French woman to become a full professor of geography at a French university. It was at the University of Lille in 1948. And this is very important. She is also very important to me because, as I told, she is very famous for geography of retailing. She founded the Commission of the Geography on the Geography of Commercial Activities. At this time, it was the name of this commission. In 1973, at the French National Committee of Geography. And this is a commission of which I am a member, still a member, and which I have chaired also, like Jacqueline Beaujeu-Garnier. And the second one is Alexandra David-Neal. I don't know if you know the name of Alexandra David-Neal. Alexandra David-Neal was an extraordinary explorer. Born in the mid-19th century, she entered, she go inside Lhasa, the Tibetan capital, in 1924, disguised as a beggar. This was a remarkable feat, as the capital of Tibet was forbidden to foreigners at this time. She was also an anarchist. She met Élisée Reclus, an anarchist and feminist. She traveled alone in Asia several times. This is a great figure for me, too.
And a historical female scientist?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah, a historical female scientist.
In a sort of, because she was, Alexandra David-Neal was a Tibetan Orientalist. She learned Tibetan language. She was also a cantatrice, but she learned languages, Asian languages, Tibetan, and she wrote about his travel. Sort of, she is also a scientist, not only anarchist, feminist, and explorer, but for that she learned and she wrote.
The third question is a reference in your development as a geographer.
It's more of a moment than a reference. At the beginning of my career in the 1990s, I visited Quebec and Russia, Moscow more exactly, in the same year. And it was a kind of geographical shock, in a sort of, especially for someone specializing in the geography of retailing and consumption. Because after that, I come back again in Quebec and in the province of Quebec, and in other parts of Canada, because I became a Canadianist. And but also I went to Russia, Moscow, and in other part of Russia between from 1994 to 2002. Yes, and I was able to compare Western consumer society, North American and European, with differences still between North American and European consumer societies, but also with a communist society in transition, which would later be called post-communism. And it was fascinating. It was fascinating to see how cultural, social impacts consumption. And at the same time, I talked a lot with my Quebec colleagues who were cultural geographers at Laval University. And they also taught me a lot in a sort of, because with them, I also discovered a new geographical understanding of North America. I discovered also the diversity in North America, between Quebec, between also the part of USA, which have an heritage, French heritage. I discovered this also. I discovered also Newfoundland. And it was a very fascinating moment for me. And not a reference as someone, but really a moment, and this discussion, these debates with Russian colleagues, not geographers, but Russian colleagues and Quebec colleagues, geographers.
I like very much the topic of retail transformation in the post-communist countries. It's also amazing. Yeah, I like that. Feel a bit freaked out of retail. So, a book or reading that you suggest us?
Okay. In geography, or more broadly, in social science, there are many. In social science and in sociology, Jean Baudrillard, and with Jean Baudrillard, the first one is America. I don't know if you know this book, America. It was for me. Sorry, yes?
No, just Baudrillard was the philosopher, right? About consumption.
Yes, yes. But he wrote also a book. The title is America. And it was also very a reference for me, not only for America, but this is also a way how to understand America, but this is also very interesting to see how Jean Baudrillard saw and read America with the movement of in America, and also this the freedom, and in a sort of way also the consumption. This is also a way. It's not for things or goods, or but it's also a way to feel America, and also le système des objets, and also the society of consumption. In geography, the reference will be the most recently reference is L'homme spatial de Michel Lusseau. I don't know if you know the author. Michel Lusseau is a well-known in France geographer. And outside of geography, I'm a really big fan of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I find both fantastic and very geographical. I think it's very geographical, the description of the territories, of the, I don't know in English the name, the
New Zealand?
Sorry?
New Zealand?
It's New Zealand, but really it's not. It's where the movie was realized, but I like really the books, the description of the countries, of the countries of different species in the trilogy of Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a typical dish from your hometown or village?
I live in Normandy. I come from Normandy, and I live in Normandy. And in Normandy, there are apples, cider, and many cheeses, and I like them all equally. And if we talk about cheese, the most well-known is Camembert, in Normandy. But a local cheese also, the name is Le Neuchâtel, which is the name of the small city where it fabrics, and I like it so much too.
Of course, as a good French, you love cheese. And already our last question, an unforgettable route or place, and it can be or not in France.
Okay, it's not in France. It's in Quebec and in Canada also. In Quebec, the name of the place is McTavish, and this is not really easy to find in a map, because in a map the name the name in a map is Réservoir. It's like a tank, a lake created by a tank, but my my family-in-law had a shack near this place, and it was wonderful because now I don't go again in this place, but it was quiet, it was nice, and it was wonderful. And it was also the road to go at this place. Saint-Maurice River in Quebec is a really nice road. And the last place is the National Park of Maud in Newfoundland. This is a place that I think is remarkable.
Very far away from here.
Yes, in a sort of, but this is a nature place, quiet, and this is also because finally I live in a city, but I like to be in a quiet place. But that's all right.
Me too. Me too. I don't want to visit more cities. I want to go to nature. If I have time, I really want to be connected with nature.
Yes. This is a way to take the time to think and to be less stressed.
Yeah. So we are very heterogeneous geographers living in cities but enjoying nature too. Okay, so that was our last question, and we are very happy that we were able to interview you. I don't know if you want to say something, Aspen.
I'm very happy to be here in the Female Geographics Corner. Thanks a lot.
Thanks to you. I think it's really important, as I told at the beginning. Yes, very important. I'm happy to see. I hope to see you in the real life, not in the virtual life. I hope to see you in the next IGU conference. Next year, you know, it will be in Istanbul. There will be the regional conference. At this time, the call for session is now launched, but and it's possible to submit a session, and the call for abstract will be in some month. And I hope to see you here or to see you in the real life in Saragossa.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And it was a really a huge pleasure, and also it was a landmark to have you here, because now you are representing all the different geographies we want to be represented in geography, and also in the International Geographical Union. So thanks for your work, and also thanks for your time. And of course, absolutely, we will enjoy if we can see you again in life.
Thank you to you. And you, Anna, I hope to see you also in the next meeting for geography of retailing.
Perfect, of course.
I read your message.
I'm more from consumption now, but yes, I think I will always be a retail geographer. And also retail and consumption are both the same, yeah.
I read your message about a commission. I send you a message on that.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you. So enjoy the rest of the week and enjoy this afternoon, and feel better with your uncle, and thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.